Okay, so how I died from a scratch. Or I was killed by a scratch. I'm not sure which one I'm going with yet. Alright, I'm a big, strong guy. Well, I'm not a big guy, but I'm an above average size guy. I'm 5'11" and 3/4. That 3/4 used to be very important to me. Actually, it's probably more like 5'11 and a half now. I'm probably shrinking a little bit at this point of life. I weigh about 190. I'm in decent shape. I'm not a pushover. I'm not a sissy. But I was killed by a scratch. I'm not even sure how to do this. Let's show you the scratch first. All right. So there you go. You're looking at the result of a scratch a day and a half after the start of antibiotics. And had it not been for the start of the antibiotics, was she in the...
Yeah, a little bit.
It would have been lethal. I would have died from this scratch. Okay, so why are we talking about this? Why am I showing you my nasty, disgusting feet and whatnot? So, well, it's important. Think about this. Here I am, a decently able man. I have my AR-15. I have my combat load of ammunition. I have a stockpile of food. I have a source of clean water. I have a burgeoning homestead where I am capable of producing, if the crisis happened tomorrow, I would be reasonably confident that I could keep my family fed in good solid calories going forward. We wouldn't be eating great, but I think we could stay alive. So I have all of these things going for me, and I would have died from scratching myself. So here's what happened. I got terrible athlete's foot that comes up. I'm not even sure it's really athlete's foot. I've had it for years. I think I got it in the Marine Corps. I don't really know for sure, but that's my story because it sounds way better than I have athlete's foot. I trace it back to, we were in Camp Wilson. I think it's Camp Wilson. It's the training camp at 29 Palms where everyone stays while they're doing their CACs, their Combined Arms Exercise. I'm pretty sure it's Camp Wilson. Well, back then, and this was over 20 years ago now, there was one bathhouse, and there'd be this entire reinforced battalion there. Basically what would be a MEU, but it would be a battalion with all the air wing, a tank platoon, all the Amtraks and the LAVs and the artillery. I mean, everything. It would be all there for 6 weeks. And these guys, we had one bathhouse for all those guys. There had to have been a female bathhouse somewhere, but I'm not sure where. And you would go in, and there were like, I don't know, probably 25 shower heads maybe in this one room. You all showered together. And it didn't matter what time of day or night you went in there. It was always full. And the water was up to the top of your ankles, lower calf, no matter what. It was almost pointless to go in there and take a shower. You were dirtier coming out than you were going in. Anyway, that's where I trace this problem to. It's inside my foot, and it comes out every once in a while in these little tiny, or sometimes big, pus pockets, and they itch really bad. And sometimes if I ignore them, they'll go away, and sometimes I'll pop them and relieve the pressure, and then they'll go away. And sometimes I break discipline, and I hack at them. And this time I broke discipline, and I know I scratched them with a pocket knife, and I scratched them with a head scratcher, and I think I scratched them with the tomahawk. I'm not sure. I know I have in the past. I may have this time as well. And somehow this infection, which came out of my foot, went back into my foot, and my foot blew up like a balloon, was tight as a drum, and this infection started moving up my ankle. My ankle started swelling. Everything was turning this weird purplish color, and it hurt to walk. And if it had left unchecked, there was every reason to think it would have kept going, and I would have died from scratching my athlete's foot. Now this is sobering on so many levels, and you could like write sermons and stuff about this and all kinds of stuff. But let's just stay practical right now. All of us, we all have our scenarios we believe might happen, or we want to be prepared just in case something did happen. And like I said, we've all got our rifles, and we've got our Berkeley water filters and our life straws, and we're making Faraday cages and all this stuff. But I scratched myself. on purpose. I was scratching. It felt really good while I was doing it. It felt really good while I was doing it. Like scratching poison ivy good. And I got an infection that could have killed me if I didn't go to the doctor for the first time in my adult life. Literally. I've had a couple of wrecks and work accidents that I had to go for emergency purposes. But first time in my adult life that I've gone to the doctor is because I scratched my athlete's foot and I got an infection. This is beyond silly. Something else they used to teach us in the Marines when they gave us athlete's foot was not to scratch. You weren't allowed to scratch. If you got caught scratching, it was a big deal because you could, for this reason, you could get infected. You were in filthy places doing filthy things. For one time, we went to the field for 3 weeks. We came out on the third weekend, so we'd been in close to 21 days. I don't remember the exact whatevers, but it was a long time. And I realized at the end of it, like 2 or 3 days before we were coming out of the field, I hadn't changed my socks yet. I was a toe gunner. Remember, we were in Humvees. A regular ground pounder would have never gotten away with that. But anyway, I did. My point being, I should have never scratched. It was undisciplined. It was stupid. This is a little tiny lesson that our forefathers probably knew that I was taught at one point and didn't take to heart, and it literally could have been lethal. There would have been no one here to operate that AR-15. There would have been no one here to plant all those crops to produce all those calories. This place would have been without a protector or a provider. If I'm a prepper, this bad habit of scratching is actually probably more important to break that bad habit of scratching than it would be to hone my firearm skills on another level. Although they could stand to go another level too. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out here. There's this little stuff we just don't think about. We've all got. I mean, I'm the same way. We've all got combat knives and bushcraft knives. None of us have shovels on our gear. We've talked about that before. All this stuff. We're talking about batteries and red dots and night vision, and I actually do want night vision because it's an amazing technology. All this stuff. But no one's really talking about sanitation and basic preventative care of your body. Like, don't scratch yourself because you might dig infections into your body and you'll die from something as stupid as scratching an itch. There's a lot of spiritual lessons in this too. We won't go there though. Men, we appreciate you. Thank you.